name's Yvonne Illsley, and I work at the University of Sheffield, and I run all the magazine modules. So I teach on the BA and the MA, and so they're all through the third year. They get me producing magazine brands and feature writing, and then the MA in feature writing and magazine journalism I run. I presented on we should stop thinking of training versus education and embrace that journalism is education, and got on my soapbox a little bit about how journalists, sort of every day we use exactly the same kind of skills in our day-to-day jobs that people require for decent education, academic purposes, and that we should stop pitching training and education against each other, but think of them as one whole, especially when it comes to journalism. I think there's a couple of reasons. I think it's not just journalism it happens to, it happens with any course that has a strong vocational kind of bent to it. So when I speak to colleagues in architecture, they have the same thing, that because you're training somebody to do a job, somehow, sort of in the traditional sense of what a university is for, and so to create, thinkers, people who analyse, who reflect, who are critical, who question everything, that people think that vocational training is something that has come about that doesn't necessarily fit their greater view of what a university is. I think in journalism case, journalists have a bad reputation. We're down there with used car salesmen and estate agents and bankers at the bottom of the reputation of professional industries, so perhaps that has had something to do with it. We don't have a formal system where to be a journalist you must, if you go to a medical school, that's a vocational course, but you have to get those exams before you can practice as a doctor or a nurse, or you have to pass them. Same with architecture. Journalists, sort of we have professional qualifications, but you don't have to have them. It's not an absolute must that you must have them to be able to practice as a journalist. So maybe for all of those reasons, we don't seem to fit anywhere, and universities don't know whether to put us in social sciences or whether we're media schools, so we kind of fall in between several cracks, and they're not sure what to do with us, and therefore we're seen as kind of training and not as a wider educational degree. Ooh, it depends who you speak to. Accreditation is important in terms of it's almost like a standard mark. People think, especially if you have NCTJ accreditation, a lot of students who come to open days who are thinking of applying, they know about the NCTJ, they care about whether a course is NCTJ accredited. When employers are employing, I think to an extent they want to know you've got your law, that you've thought about ethics, that certainly if you're on a local newspaper, things like public affairs become really important. So I think accreditation does something which we haven't spoken about yet, in that it does keep us on our toes. It does mean that we have to kind of justify what we're doing and think about it. So it is important, and it definitely has a role. I deal most often with the PPA, which is accredits anyone who has a magazine or publishing course, and I know they keep me on my toes. Whether or not they should dictate whole curricula is a whole of the debate, which Katie was talking about, and then there are all kinds of areas of shade and grey. So yes, it's important, but I'm not sure it's vital. It's been really interesting. It's been, sort of really insightful to listen to all these different people and their opinions, and the debate that goes on afterwards. I think we were just getting started earlier on today on accreditation, and then we had to stop, and I would imagine that will be brought back up again. So it's been, it's my first time at the AJE, so it's been, enlightening for me, and just to hear everybody speak. Having the benefit of listening to other people and what's happening in the wider education, and in our case in journalism, listening to what's happening in other places, what are other people doing, bouncing ideas off each other, that collaborative approach, sort of can really help. And I've got my computer open, so I'm making notes, or sort of I'm bookmarking things that I've seen that they've put up on the internet. So it's just a really useful tool to be able to have that collaboration and open yourself up to new ideas. It's so short. It's nice to get together every now and chat. So and that idea of questioning what we do, that we actually stand back and think more deeply. We don't just rock into lectures every time and produce stuff that we've been doing for ages. We're thinking more deeply about what we're giving our students and how we're giving our students, and is it the right thing, and what the industry's like and how we should be serving that, if we should be serving particular sections of the industry at all, or should we be throwing it all out into the open. So it gives us the opportunity to think more deeply and question more about our role as educators.